Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Newcastle versus Chelsea. I know I said it last week, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the biggest game of Chelsea's season. Every match officially between now and the end of the season is a final. Enzo Maresca has said 3 Premier League finals, and of course Chelsea have got the small matter of a final against Real Betis in the Conference League on the 28th of May. But my word, am I nervous? Am I excited? I can't wait for this. I cannot wait. You know why? Because I've been looking at this Newcastle game throughout the whole season. I've watched a lot of Newcastle this season. They've played very well. And I haven't until today thought we can win this game. And I've got this weird feeling about Chelsea right now. I've got this feeling that we are actually, when I start to grip my teeth a little bit and I start to be like, right, come on then, let's be serious. Let's get it together. Let's go for it. Let's beat them. Let's do it. I feel as though we're getting that from our team right now. I feel as though finally this season we have actually taken a look at our situation. We've taken a look at where we are. And we're like, this is what we've got to do. This is what's needed. Let's go out there and do it. Newcastle United, on any given day at St. James's Park, it's an incredibly difficult place to go. The atmosphere that they create there is electric. Do these Chelsea players have enough about them, have enough experience to combat that atmosphere? I think we need to start very well. I think the way this game will go is that Newcastle will try and come out the blocks quickly. And I think the way to counteract that is to not sit back and let it happen, because I don't think we're defensively solid enough to actually play that game of football from the very get-go. Our response to that needs to be, well, do you know what? We've got some pace on our wings as well. Noni Madueke on the left, Pedro Neto on the right, and we are going to go and try and hurt your fullbacks too, because if you want to play that way, we're not going to be intimidated by the St. James's Park atmosphere. We are going out there to play. And look, I said it in the game against Liverpool. I actually predicted a 4-3 in the game against Liverpool. We scored 3 goals, so I technically weren't that far. Well, I was like 3 goals out over the course of the match, but whatever. All right, this is also going to be open. Newcastle are going to look at this and think, well, we've also got to play Arsenal, so they've not got an easy run in as well. Chelsea have obviously got Man United, who have got their eyes firmly set on the Europa League final, and Nottingham Forest. And we don't know what kind of Forest we're going to get going into that last game of the season, because they've definitely fallen off. But have they fallen off? Is it still a drivable vehicle for Nottingham Forest? We're going to have to wait and see over this weekend. And of course, next weekend as well. I do want to say, before we go any further in this video, I'm doing something a bit different for a live stream tomorrow. I've actually got a friend of mine who's currently in Thailand, who's a big Newcastle fan. And he's got his own YouTube channel as well. Not a football channel, but he's got a travel YouTube channel. Big Newcastle fan. So the Watchalong tomorrow, I'm doing it with somebody else. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. It's going to be fun. It's an early kickoff as well. So I'm buzzing for this. I really, really am. Make sure you're subscribed to GBFC so you don't miss anything. Smack a like on this video if you think Chelsea can win this game. Because I tell you what, boys, if we do win this, we're going to get Champions League football, because I don't see a world where Man United can come to Stamford Bridge and hurt us enough for us not to beat them, considering all of their eyes and ears, mouth and nose is going to be firmly on beating Tottenham to get back in the Champions League. Man United don't care about the Premier League. So this game at St. James's Park, without question for me, is the trickiest match that Chelsea have got left. And I think it's even harder than if you go into that Liverpool game last week. Liverpool, we knew it. They were the champions. There was going to be some kind of hangover. They didn't need to do anything. They could have lost 15-0. And it wouldn't have affected the fact that on the final day of the season, they will lift the Premier League trophy. For Newcastle, they got a feeling. After they won that Carabao Cup final, they'd kind of quenched that thirst for a trophy at the club. But they don't want to stop there. And I respect Newcastle a lot as a club, because as much as under Mike Ashley, financially, they weren't left in ruin. They didn't really have anything to fight for. Newcastle being relegated from the Premier League into the Championship was an absolute tragedy. They came back up. They got their new ownership now, Saudi owners, PIF, and they haven't spent tons of money. They've got an absolutely incredible midfield, and I think this is a key thing for Chelsea tomorrow, is that we've got 3, okay? We've got Lavia, Enzo and Caicedo. And Newcastle have only got Bruno and Sandro Tonali, who, to be fair, I say they've only got those two. Two phenomenal, sensational midfielders. I think two of the best midfielders in the league, if I'm being honest. But they don't have Joe Linton. And I think if you match this Chelsea midfield up right now, we're going to build a team in a minute. You can probably guess who I'm going to pick today, can't you? But I think when you look at the way that we played against Liverpool, I think we should be more than happy at St. James's tomorrow to not have the ball. I don't think there needs to be an onus on that because I don't think Newcastle are going to sit back. I don't think St. James's Park will allow it. I don't think Eddie Howe will allow it. They're aggressive. They're direct. And for the first time in this whole run-in, like it's been weeks and weeks and weeks where we're looking at this fixture list at the end of the season and we're like, I feel like there's certain games that we're just not going to win. We're going to need a miracle at some point. It's like there's been so many emotions, right? This has been a roller coaster of a Champions League run-in. But this is, on a Saturday afternoon, the most confident I have felt about this fixture. This has been the one. I've said it on the channel. I said it on the podcast with Josh. I want to go and hide in my little flipping cupboard down there that's behind me. I don't want to watch this because I feel as though Newcastle could batter us, but I don't think they're going to. And I'm going to tell you my score prediction at the end of this video, so stay tuned till the end. But without any further ado, Newcastle versus Chelsea. This is the Chelsea 11 that can beat them. Robert Sanchez, I see what you're doing here. I can see what you're doing after all the things I've said about Rob Sanchez all season. I go into it with some serious statements. We can beat Newcastle. Then Rob Sanchez is in goal. Listen, I've given him his flowers in recent weeks. I think he deserves it. I think his performances have been significantly better. And I think all in all, Chelsea's performances as a team have been significantly better. I think defenders have stepped up with big ones. The midfield, with Lavia back in there, it is a class above what we've seen throughout the rest of this season. The attack are also looking bright. Wingers fighting for each other, fighting for the team right now. And Rob Sanchez, I think he deserves that number one spot at this point in time. And I didn't think I would say that a few weeks ago. Moving into the Chelsea back line. Moises Caicedo in at right back. We know it's not really right back, but that's where we're going to line it up today. Chalobah, Levi Colwill, and Marc Cucurella. For me, as much as I find it very difficult to justify not having Chelsea's captain Reece James in starting 11s for massive matches, I love Reece James, I really do. But we have to have all three of those players in the team, in my opinion. So if I put the midfield up now, it has to be this for me. It has to be Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo. We need the legs. We have got the ability to keep the ball with these players, the ability to win the ball, to drive the ball forward. I think there is so much balance when these three play. We've seen it all season when it's been possible. When Lavia played 85 minutes against Aston Villa, Chelsea won 3-0, arguably the most complete controlled performance of the season. Liverpool last week played the majority of the 90 minutes, and it was probably the most controlled performance of the season. We scored 3 goals in both of those games. It absolutely isn't a coincidence. And I think Chelsea's key here to beating Newcastle is not getting ran through in the middle. Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, they're brilliant, brilliant players. Could probably get into most teams in the Premier League. And this is a huge game for Enzo Fernandez in particular defensively, because I think going forward, he's improved massively. We know that Caicedo, nobody gets past him. Lavia, very difficult to get past him. But Enzo Fernandez needs to also put in a shift here, because it's not just going to be about what he does going forward in this game. It's absolutely going to be about how he improves the defensive structure of the team as well. So that is the Chelsea backline and midfield. We move into the front four. And before I actually put it up on the screen, I do think it's quite nice right now that we kind of know what the best team is for these matches that we've got between now and the end of the season. And I'll put it up here. And I don't want to say disrespect at all to Jadon Sancho, because he's absolutely improved and turned it on. But Noni Madueke on the left wing is such a threat. And I think Pedro Neto, in the last few games, since that wonderful goal that he scored against Fulham that basically kick-started this run that we've had towards the end of the season, Neto's also been fantastic. Cole Palmer, we're going to need him to show up. He did earlier on in this season against Newcastle with that incredible assist for Nicholas Jackson. And I think the fact that Newcastle won't sit back, the fact that Newcastle won't just defend low block, and hope that Chelsea can't break it down. And obviously, we know they've got pace. We know that they've got counter-attacking capabilities. But that's not the way that they try and play. So I think this can absolutely play into Chelsea's hands. However, I don't want us to let the atmosphere get to us because it will be a cauldron, even though it's an early kickoff. And you could argue that people haven't had a chance to be on the beers all day because it's at 12 o'clock, noon. So maybe they're not going to be as crazy, not going to be as loud. But I think Newcastle are going to be so up for this. They know that with a game against Arsenal to come as well, they've got to get a result here. They can't lose to Chelsea. So maybe there's a world where we see Maresca be tentative and Eddie Howe be tentative in the hope that if we don't lose, then we can both get top 5. That's also a possibility, and I've not ruled that one out, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think this game is a coin flip. It could easily be that both teams know a draw could still be enough to both get Champions League, or both teams don't want the draw. Both teams are playing with confidence right now, and it could be an absolute classic again. So with that being said, right, I know I've been going on about this game being a tricky one to win, but I look at this Chelsea starting 11, right, and I'm buzzing about this. I'm gassed. I think we've actually we've turned it on in the last few games. We have absolutely turned it on. We're into the final of the Conference League. That performance against Gordon is totally irrelevant because this is a completely different side. What do I think is going to happen in this game? Part of me wants to say, my head is saying it's going to be 1-1. My heart is saying, it's difficult. It's difficult. I really back us at the moment, you know. And I don't know if it's just blind optimism. Or maybe I really have felt a shift from these players. I've felt a change the way that we're playing. We've tried a couple of long balls as well. We're not as predictable and monotonous in possession, if that's the right word. We're going for something different. I'm going to throw it out there, all right? 3-2 Chelsea at St James's Park. And how good would it be? How big of a win would this be if we get this? If we beat Newcastle, I genuinely think that Champions League football is ours because I think we'll beat Man United and then maybe come the Nottingham Forest game, we don't even have to win. There is a possibility that that actually happens here. So my head says 1-1. My heart says Chelsea are going to go to St James's Park and win 3-2. And GBFC, George Benson's thoughts from the past, however many weeks, would be that Newcastle are going to win this. It could be anything. It genuinely could be. But this starting 11, I absolutely back it. Cole Palmer's going to get himself a goal again. Jackson's going to score again. And Trevor Chalobah, Palmer, Jackson. Chelsea's 3 goal scorers. We're going to win 3-2. Subscribe to GBFC. I will be live from 10:30 a.m. UK time tomorrow, 90 minutes before kickoff. And, be respectful to my Geordie mate. He's a top guy. He's a top guy. And he knows that he's going to be completely outnumbered here on this channel. But I think it would be fun to change things up a bit for the live streams. Get someone from the opposition's club involved as well. It's going to be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Smack a like if you enjoyed the preview. And I'll see you guys in the stream.